In this video, we're going to identify transformations from an equation. So number one, describe the transformations of f of x that produce g of x. So originally we had f of x is equal to 2x, and we want to know how did we get to 2x over 7 plus 7. The new pieces are these 7s. Right, so I'm going to rewrite this. I don't like the form it's in. I'm going to change this. And that 7th, instead of dividing by 7, I'm going to bring that outside as multiplying by 1/7, and then I can keep that plus 7. So from here, I can kind of figure out what my transformations are. Remember, we want to look at vertex form. So we have something like ax minus h plus k. All right, whatever that happens to be. This could be an absolute value. It could be a quadratic, whatever it is. But a couple of things going on here. Again, we have this 1/7 and this 7. The 1/7 is my a value. Remember, that determines stretches and compressions. And what happens is if the absolute value of a is greater than 1, it's a stretch. And if that absolute value is between 0 and 1, it is a compression. So in this example, 1/7 tells me that there is a compression. Right, we can look at this as a vertical compression. And then the plus 7, that's kind of outside, separate from my parentheses. That's my k value. My k value talks about, or tells me my vertical shifts. So I know that this plus 7 is going to be a shift up 7 units. All right, so if I were to graph these 2x and 2x over 7 plus 7, I'm going to see that there's going to be a vertical compression and that my graph is going to shift up 7 units. So my answers would be right there. Number 2, they're asking us to sketch the graph of the quadratic function and the axis of symmetry. State the vertex and give the equation for the axis of symmetry. All right, so we've done some problems like this before. Again, this is in the form, our vertex form. And then a couple of different things that go on here. I'll repeat it. A determines stretch compression. H determines my horizontal shifts, or they're backwards. K is my vertical shifts. HK tells me my vertex. And x equals h is my axis of symmetry. Okay, so let's take a look at the actual equation. We have the x plus 1 squared plus 4. So let's start with the axis of symmetry. All right, let's label all these pieces. Or let's start with A. So A, in this case, there's just a 1 out there. So A is 1. H, remember that H is the opposite. So H is actually going to be -1. And then K is going to be 4. All right, so actually, you know what? Let's start with the vertex. The vertex is pretty simple. Vertex is HK. So my vertex is going to be -1, 4. So I'm going to plot that point right away. All right, -1, 4 there. My axis of symmetry is x equals h, and h in this case is -1. So I'm going to put a dotted line right down where x is equal to -1. Make sure axis of symmetry in any online programs you use, you'll put that as a dotted line. So state the vertex and the equation. All right, so let's do the rest of this. So let's fill out a chart to give us the rest of the points that we're going to need. Now, here's a big trick I like to recommend that you do. When you're trying to find the x values that you should use, your axis of symmetry should always be your middle number on your chart. So I'm going to use that -1, and I'm going to pick 2 numbers smaller than that and 2 numbers larger than that. All right, so in this case, those numbers are not directly larger. I'm going to go down to, so -2, -3, and I'm going to go up to, so 0 and 1. This will make sure that my vertex is right in the middle, and I have at least 2 points to the left of that and 2 points to the right. Now I need to take these numbers, -3, -2, -1, 0, 1, and they have to get plugged back in to my original function. I need to find the values of these. So if I plug in -3, I get -3 plus 1 is -2. Square that would be 4, and then 4 plus 4 would be 8. Plug in -2, -2 plus 1 would be 1. 1 squared is 1, so it's going to be 5. -1, we should get 4, so let's just check this. -1 plus 1, 0. Squared 0 plus 4 is 4. All right, this vertex should be that middle point. So if that didn't work out, we did something wrong. 0, if I plug 0 in, 1 squared, I get 5. And then if I plug in 1, 1 plus 1, 2 squared, 4 plus 4 is 8. If you've also followed this carefully, all right, if you follow this method of putting the vertex in the middle and 1 above, 1 below each direction, or say 2 above, 2 below, these two and these two should match up. Okay, that's kind of a quick little reference that you can use to check to make sure that your charts are correct. So either you made no mistakes or you made 2 mistakes, so hopefully there's none. Plot your points. -3, 8 is going to be right here. -2, 5. -1, 4 we already have plotted. 0, 5, which is good. We should start seeing a reflection now. And then 1, 8. Right, I'm going to connect these. Draw a sketch of a parabola. By hand is not going to be perfect. But we've now sketched the graph of the quadratic equation. So we have that. We already said what the axis of symmetry was. We stated the vertex and give the equation for the axis of symmetry. We've said all of that. So everything is covered for that problem. Right. When you're doing these, keep this in mind. All right, this is kind of the key thing you're going to need here. That gives you all the information you need to graph the point. And the other thing you really want to key on is this vertex should be that middle point that you pick there. And then go 2 numbers below, 2 numbers above. All right, we'll take a last look here at 3, and then we'll save 4 for the next video. Graph the function, describe how is it translated from f of x equals x squared. This one's really straightforward. This -1, that's my k value. All right, so that means a vertical shift. And since it's -1, that tells me my graph, there's a shift down 1 place. So I need to come up with my chart. We'll do this pretty quickly. There's no shifts left or right, so I'm going to use my standard -2, -1, 0, 1, 2. That's kind of going to be those will be your go-to ones, all right, because you have that 0. So here, if I'm going to take this equation, I'm going to plug these numbers in. -2 squared would be 4. 4 minus 1 is 3. -1 squared is 1. 1 minus 1 would be 0. 0 minus 1 is -1. 1 minus 1 again is 0. And then 2 squared minus 1 would be 3. Again, these numbers here are getting plugged into here so I can get my y values. Again, notice that these match up. That'll help you. And that middle one's going to be my vertex. So 0, -1 is my vertex, and then I'll plot the rest of the points. -2, 3, -1, 0, 1, 0, and 2, 3. Right, so we should have our parabola, and if we're familiar with the parent function that starts at 0, 0, this graph did shift down 1 place like we said it would, so we should be in good shape. That's it.